In this video, you will learn about try sections. With the try function, you can test a block of code for errors. We are trying to print the letter E. We already know that it's not possible because E is not defined. So we use the function except because allow us to manipulate the error. We need to write the section, and this is only idea or example. In this case, the try block will generate an exception because E is not defined. So we can see here that the section is executed. Since the try block writes an error, the exec block will be executed. Without the try block, the program will crash and write an error, and trying to print the variable E. As a result, you can see here the name error. Before was different because we used the exec function. You can define as many sections as you want if you want to execute a special block of code for a special kind of error. For example, you can print one message if you have the name error, another message for other errors. I mean, you can define a special message for every error. After name error, I'm defining another section. When you use the exec function, you can define the name of the error, or only write a set. And even you can use both, I mean the section with the name and the section without the name. You can see that the name error section is executed, because E is not defined. Otherwise will be executed the other section. To use the else function, you need to define first the try and the exec function, and the last one will be the else. Like before, we need to define every section. In this case, will be a little different because we already defined the letter E. In the case of the else function is executed if and only if any section is raised. For example, if the exec block is executed, the else block will not work. But in this case, as a result, you can see that how E is defined, so the exec function is not executed. You can use the else function with many exceptions, but remember that else clause is only executed if no exceptions happens. In this example, I'm defining different kinds of errors. As a result, you can see that the else block is executed, because any other exception was raised. The try exec block can have the finally clause, but this is optional. The finally clause is always executed. For that reason, it's optional. You can see it as a result the else and the finally block execute. The sections are raised when an error occurs, but in Python you can also force an exception. To do it, you only need to use the keyword raise. You can define what kind of error to raise and the text to print to the user. Any type of exception can be raised. You will see that our code works normally, but we decide to raise an error. To understand better, I have other case. For example, raise an error and stop the program in C if less than 50. As a result, you can see that the right function is executed because e is less than 50. So we force an error because this code can work normally.